CS2's next case needs new finishes. We've gotten the Kukri knife, which is CS2's knife. We've gotten new gloves a couple of weeks ago. And while they could go with a lot of different options, right? They could go with the Prism knife and Gamma finishes. They could go with the Kukri and Classic knife in newer finishes like Chroma and Gamma. But I think all of that should wait, and we should get some new finishes first. It's been over 10 years. We're due. And since I've got a lot of experience in old CSGO lobbies using the !WS command, I'd say I'm in a pretty good spot to at least suggest some new knife finishes that could come to CS in the future. And for each of them, we'll give a nice little knife-glove combo so that you can see what it would be like in-game. So without further ado, let's get into it. This one's probably my personal favorite. It's on the Nomad knife here. It's the Midnight Lily. And the Midnight Lily is on the AUG originally in the St. Mark's collection. And notably, when you inspect it or look at it just by moving around, you can tell it has a holographic effect, which would be one of the first of its kind for a knife finish in the game. While I don't think animated gloves or animated knives will ever be a thing in CS, the holographic effect kind of does that in its own right in the CS way. It's not in your face, it's not too out of this world, but it absolutely looks fantastic here. I put on the Nomad knife because the way in which your guy inspects it, where he flicks it with his thumb, it almost kind of shows off the holographic effect perfectly. And here I have it matched with the garden gloves, of course, right? Lily's garden, no brainer there. If I had to guess, this would probably be the most expensive knife in the game if it ever came out. This is the Prism Terrace, right? Another holographic effect. This one was originally on the Mag 7 in the Vertigo collection, 2021, right? It has that original terrace pattern that you saw in the original Rising Sun collection, but it made it a little bit holographic, and it looks absolutely amazing. Now, the colors just kind of lend itself to the ultraviolet gloves, which are the most popular gloves from the newest glove collection, and just by moving around and looking at it, all the different colors that the holographic effect hits are on this exact glove. It's absolutely the perfect match. It almost seems like it was made for this pattern. So while if this knife never comes out in the game, I think that if you do have these gloves, you pretty much need to pick up this Mag 7, right? It's absolutely a match made in heaven. Also, the Glow Rainbow Spoon matches this one pretty well. So for our first solid color knife, I went for the caramel finish. Now, the caramel finish is on the originally from the Assault collection, and I think it's a perfect, parallel to the ultraviolet knife and the night knife, which are, key paint finishes for knives within the game. Solid color and a base coat to go with it accented. Now, some of the gloves I chose for them include the Chocolate Chesterfield, as well as the Overtake Driver gloves, which match pretty perfectly, and a little bit unorthodox, but the Blaze gloves that are new as well. The next solid color, of course, the whiteout. Here I have it on the bayonet, and you could tell that it's pretty overpowering when you actually use the whiteout finish. And that's because, of course, when you use a whiteout skin, it covers the entire gun in white. So it becomes a little bit jarring. So you can use the pillow punchers, as you can see, but it becomes like a gigantic beam of light on your screen, which will probably get old pretty quickly. So you can use the Black Book gloves as well from the Dead Hand collection. But I imagine if this was .06 float perfect, it would be probably one of the most expensive knife combos in the game. I think one finish that works a little bit better than the whiteout, but it's pretty much the same thing, is the Tuxedo. Now, the Tuxedo's on a bunch of different weapons as well, like the CZ and the Galil, and I think it does the whiteout job better than the whiteout, because it has that black accent, which goes with a lot more gloves, and you still have the Blake canvas on the knife itself. When you're using a solid color like the ultraviolet or a Tuxedo in this case, you're looking for the glove to shine, so I would probably go with the Black Book, as the knife sort of serves as a canvas for the glove, rather than the glove serving as a canvas for the knife. If you want a little bit of color, I found that it also works pretty well with the Creme pinstripe knife from the Dead Hand collection as well. Next up, probably my favorite solid color one of the entire lineup we got going here. It's the Candy Apple. Here I have it on the Stiletto knife, and I think it's perfect. It's very bright, it's very vibrant, but it's different from the Ruby. It's different from the Autotronic in that it's not a metallic type of red, right? It's like a painted red. So it kind of goes with the more brighter red knives, right? Something like the Slingshot gloves, which I have right here. The Red Racer would probably work just as well here. But I do think probably the best course of action if this knife was in the game is probably to use the Nox. Now, the Nox is the all-black glove, as we know, and I think that kind of tones down the bright, vibrant red that you get from the Candy Apple. Now, I don't think this one will be added because it kind of steps on the toes a little bit of the other knives, but the Hot Rod is absolutely beautiful. right? Unlike the candy apple, it's got that metallic coat, so it gives it a little bit of a shine on the red, makes it a little bit darker as a result, meaning that you could pair it with more darker red gloves like the brocade crane from the Dead Hand collection, right? This one's dark, it's shiny like the hot rod, and it's got some gold accents, which looks great. But if matching is not your thing, it also goes really well with the arid sport gloves, right? Sort of a blood and sand type of deal we got going on here. Lets the knife shine, kind of keeps your gloves in the background. If you want to be the star of the show, you can go with the occult gloves, right? That gold accent really goes crazy on this one, as well as the red racers if you want that hot rod red racer driving type of vibe. And speaking of that driving type of vibe, you can go with the Karambit carbon fiber, which I have right here. Now the carbon fiber is quiet, much like the whiteout. It kind of serves as a canvas. Now the driver gloves tuxedo, I believe they're called, they match absolutely perfectly, right? You can see the stitching on the driver glove kind of almost blends in with the carbon fiber pattern, making it the glove for this knife. There really isn't any other that you need. However, if the driver gloves aren't speaking to you, maybe these will right here. They have a snake on it. It looks like kind of a snake camo. I don't know what the fuck these gloves are called. I've never seen them. But they do match pretty well with the carbon fiber Karambit right here. These gloves also match with our next knife up, the Nitro. Now, the Nitro is another solid color finish like the Ultraviolet, but there's just so many of these going around that I have to show you them. They're absolutely perfect, right? There is a shortage of orange-colored shit in this game, and I think that it needs a little bit more attention. The Nitro would be a perfect way to introduce orange-themed loadouts into people's lives, and it goes absolutely perfect with these Foundation Specialist gloves. And these are pretty much the only orange ones in the game. They are very expensive right now because they're Generation 1. But if you want a dead hand version of orange, I think these Sunburst gloves are pretty good as well, right? Since the gray is very quiet and the orange is still there, you can kind of match it with a different color like blue. And you still have the top of the gloves doing most of the work right there. Matches the handle of the gut knife right here that I'm using as the showcase. I think a Nitro would be a perfect glove finish for a new case. Last solid color of the day, unfortunately, the Bulldozer gloves. Now I put these on the Shadow Daggers because the way the Bulldozer works, it puts it on the blade, so it's very bright and very in your face. The Shadow Daggers don't have a very large blade, so it kind of works like the Nitro here. And that's how I would expect it to work if they made it into an actual knife. Again, yellow is a super underappreciated color in terms of skins within the game. So I think much like the Nitro, it would be a perfect introduction for people to use it. Now you can go with matching gloves. I did the Chocolate Chesterfields here. I also have the Arid, which works very well. Or you can go full contrast. Blue and yellow is one of the best color combos in the world, especially during spring and summertime like right now. And the Cobalt Skulls does it pretty well. Skins.com is the first marketplace for Westerners on Chinese CS2 skins. Purchase from an extensive list of items or insta-sell your skins and withdraw it from a variety of methods, including bank transfer or crypto. For an insta-sell website, these are truly some of the best rates I've ever seen. And they are soon launching a peer-to-peer trading system to compete with some of the biggest players within the market. So why not get started now and get used to the website? Try out skins.com. Continuing with the Shadow Daggers here, we're going to move to a little bit of a higher tier knife finish, the Amber Fade. Now, it probably wouldn't be as popular as the regular Fade, but it would probably be a nice budget introduction to the Fade for people who can't afford the Fade finishes, as they typically command much higher price points. It's a little bit of like an autumn-colored Fade, right? The Fade is very much in your face. The Amber Fade is a little bit more subdued, kind of lets the gloves shine a little bit more. Here I got the Jaguar gloves because I just love them. I had to put them with some type of knife within the game, and I think it matches these pretty well. Right, this one's pattern-based as well, so you can get some really nice full fade amber fades, or you can have some low fade ones that look sort of like a solid color amber fade. I also use these gloves. These gloves are fucking hideous. I've never seen them before used in a game for good reason. It looks like someone shot their boogers all over the top of your glove, but it does match these ones pretty well because it's got that green, it's got that like reddish, orangish, yellowish type of metallic base coat. But I do think the absolute best ones are going to be big game gloves. Matches the autumn vibe. This is a perfect little fall seasonal loadout. Now, on the topic of fades, we move over to the Acid Fade. Now, the Acid Fade, I think, would be a perfect little parallel to the Gamma Doppler, right? Maybe being a little bit more budget of an option. Here I have it on the Butterfly knife. Obviously matches with the Hedge Mazes very well, as it's a little bit brighter than the Gamma Dopplers tend to be. Right, and here again, you can go full fade, low fade, have a dark green or a light green, depending on which type of pattern you get, which lends itself to being much more comboable with the different types of gloves within the game. Hedge Maze, obviously, the Emerald Webs would work just fine, although I don't have a video of them here. The Lime Polycams it works with very well, the newer green glove from the Dead Hand collection. I did use the driver gloves racing green because that's a much darker and a little bit of a cheaper option considering it's a cheaper gamma Doppler. I think this would be a perfect little combo, especially if it was on like the Huntsman knife or something. What you would want in a budget knife. Now, staying with the butterfly knife, we have the butterfly knife Hypnotic. Now, the Hypnotic, I think, would be like the Crimson Web, sort of, right? You're a really awesome pattern-based one, but the pattern doesn't really matter too much here, right? Sort of looks like a zebra print here on the butterfly knife. Looks absolutely awesome, and I think would match with your typical black and white gloves, right? Nox, the pillow punchers. Black Book, I think, really works the best here because it kind of looks like you're doodling all over the butterfly knife, and the Black Book gloves have a bunch of doodling all over itself, so I think this one goes hand in hand. This would be one of the better knife combos within the game. Next up, we have the Aqua Terrace. Here I have it on the falchion knife here. The Aqua Terrace is originally on the Galil in the Rising Sun collection, and I think it's one of the most underappreciated skins in the game, just due to it being very rare and, you know, most people don't even know it exists. Right, this sky blue color is another color that's pretty underappreciated, right? It's not like dark blue where it's on a lot of different skins, right? You have the sapphire, blue phosphor. But the sky blue, not really seen all too often. And I think a knife in sky blue would benefit the game a lot, right? It's a color that a lot of people like, and it matches some of the new gloves that are in the Dead Hand terminal, right? Here I have the Brocade Flowers glove, which matches absolutely 1-to-1 pretty much. The Aqua Terrace is like a painted finish almost, and the Brocade Flowers kind of gives it a little bit of shine that I think you need a little bit of. But if you don't like that shine, it also matches the Garden gloves very well, and I think that this is an underappreciated glove for sure, so I do think this would give that glove a little bit of love, a little bit of demand. Next up, I have the Kukri knife here with the Pandoras Box. Now, the Pandora's Box was actually a skin before it was a glove, but here I have them matching right here. It's from the Gods and Monsters collection. It's on the MP9. It's very expensive now and not well known, but it was one of my favorite MP9s when it first came out. Right here, you have a nice dark blue finish that you don't see a lot of in game, right? Because you really only have the sapphire, and that dark blue matches with that purple very well, right? Almost matching, and it's the double Pandora's Box, so you know I had to at least include it. But we did get some new dark blue gloves in the Dead Hand terminal, the Cloud Chasers. So I think that having a knife that goes with these gloves would be, you know, absolutely perfect, and this finish would be so sick. It would definitely be pattern based, so you can get one with a lot of those little alien goop monsters on it, and I think that, you know, you would have your own little Pandora's Box market. Goes well with a lot of the gloves, new gloves in the game. Now here are just some other cool ones that I found, but, you know, I didn't really know if they would be perfect. This is the Galil Caution from the Vertigo collection, and here I have it matched, of course, with the Caution hand wraps. I think goes 1-in-1 with each other, would be perfect, but probably a little bit too niche to be added into the game. Another one that's a perfect match, this is the Cyano spatter. This is from the Office collection originally, and it's actually the same pattern as the Frosty gloves in the new collection. So I put it on the paracord knife here, and as you can see, it's the same exact pattern, just on a knife. You could add this one. It would be like a safari mesh, like low-tier skin, but it does still look really good and has a matching glove to go with it. Right, we have the Slaughter, but we also have the Dark Water, which I don't think many people know. It's the same pattern as the Slaughter, just with a little bit different color, right? The gray instead of the red. But the patterns on it are the same, and I think that this would be perfect, right? It's a little bit darker, so it matches those darker gloves that have been coming out and are obviously more popular, like the Black Book, the Pillow Punchers, and you'd have a direct parallel straight to the Slaughter from the original knife finishes. This one I would love in the game. It would be like the lore of this knife finish collection, right? This is the Flame Mander from the Norse collection, right? A little bit of a reddish orangish hue, which I said, underappreciated type of vibe we got going on in CS. So I think that having one like that would be perfect in the game. And it goes absolutely perfectly with these Razan the Red gloves or the Brocade Crane gloves. Here I also found one, the Needle Point gloves from the Broken Fang glove collection. And I think this goes pretty well together as well. Last one, a little bit of a goofball combo. I got the Bamboo Forest Kukri knife, the hand sweaters. Kukri's a little bit goofy, so you gotta lean into it a little bit here. The bamboo pattern is actually the same pattern as the hydroponic AK, so you would have a matching hydroponic knife, and I think that would be absolutely super sick. The hand sweaters are kind of hitting home that green vibe that's only accented on the knife, so I think they go pretty well together, honestly. Overall, just a pretty sick combo in my opinion. Would go really hard. Now that's all. Obviously, there's a fuck ton of awesome patterns in the game that are on like lesser known guns and would go absolutely perfectly on not only knives, but different guns themselves. So if you'd like to see more, sometimes I like to do this on Twitch. It's very fun. Or if you'd like to see them on different guns, maybe I could do that one day as well. Other than that, peace.